Hey everybody, John Burke of Burke & Company, Long & Foster Real Estate Group. And last week we talked to you about why there are some good reasons to consider selling this fall. We wanted to kind of give a counterpoint. Just a few things out there. I know I'm a real estate agent. It's always a good reason to buy and to sell. But there are, for some types of buyers, I think some particularly compelling reasons to maybe get active this fall. And let's look at three types of those buyers and the reasons why. Buyer type number one would be cash buyers, or people who, for the short term, are okay with maybe higher financing rates with the idea that they can refi later. So if in the short term you can handle maybe a higher payment with the idea that a little bit further down the road, maybe interest rates are going to come back, which could happen as early as the spring, you might have some big advantages by being active this fall instead of waiting to the spring, because when interest rates begin to move down again on mortgages, I think things are going to get very active and we might see prices move up. So you might get your house now at a lower price than you would later, and then refi at a later date. And if you're cash, it's actually a very good time to be in cash because everybody else can't afford as much home as they used to if they're planning on financing. Buyer type number two is actually a little bit related to what we talked about last week. Buyer type number two is somebody who might have to sell a current home in order to buy their new one. Unlike the frantic market that existed for the last few years during the whole COVID crazy thing, the market has really slowed down. And even though we never saw prices drop like some people had hoped, we are in an environment now where you can do things like home sale contingencies. So if your plan includes something like that, which traditionally was a big part of the plan for a lot of people, that is very, very much in play right now in the fall, and we can help you work it out. If you're going to do something like that, you really do want a local agent who knows what they're doing. If you're going to make a home sale contingency work, it really helps to have an agent who knows other agents and can make things make sense to people. Okay, the third type of buyer that I want to talk to are people who made the mistake of trying to time the market. There were people who were telling me in 2017, 2018, 2019 that they really thought prices had come up too much and they were going to wait a little while because they thought it was going to come back for some reason. And we all know how that's played out 5 years later. There's a lot of people, a year ago were saying a very similar thing to me. Well, guess what? The dust has kind of settled on things. We're really a year out of the end of that sort of frantic COVID thing that went on. We're over a year out now from those, 2.75% mortgage rates that were fueling a lot of that. And unless you're really looking with a microscope, if you look with a microscope, you might be able to tell there's a slight reduction in prices that went on in the last 12 months, but it's very, very hard to see. To be honest, if you're planning on selling it, it's almost impossible to see. So if you did that thing where you're trying to time the market and you've been, kind of holding off again, thinking the market's going to come back in your direction, there's a few reasons to think that might not occur. There are a lot of people thinking interest rates could be significantly lower by the end of 2024. And if that occurs, usually as interest rates come down, for whatever reason they're coming down, home prices begin to move up again. So if you made the mistake of putting it off, don't, sort of throw bad time on top of bad time. There's only so many summers, and this fall it might be a better time to look in this fall than it's going to be, say, in the spring, where we always have a seasonal phenomenon of increased competitiveness among buyers trying to get in for the summer. So those are three types of buyers that I think can find some compelling reasons to take a look. And if you have any plans buying or selling, this is the time to start talking to us. So please do reach out. Send us a DM, send us a comment, send us an email, give us a phone call. Love to talk on the phone. Hey, come knock on the door. Stop in the office. So John Burke for all of us here at Burke & Company, and we are Better Real Estate Experience, and we are here to help you. So reach out.